Go, girl.
It is spring. It is
Yeah.
spring. And it is the master. Oh, wow. We've got Juliana joining us.
Hello.
Perfect timing, Juliana.
There she is.
Juliana.
Yeah, it took me a little while to come in as well.
Are you
What's going on
there?
with it? It seems playing up again lately, isn't it? Everybody's having problems with it.
Are you there, Juliana?
I think she's just connecting,
Yes.
isn't she? Hello.
Oh, brilliant.
Hi,
We're just literally starting. So
Okay, great.
Juliana, meet Debbie. Debbie, meet
Hello,
Juliana.
hon, how are you?
This is
Nice to
the
meet you.
masterclass. This is the masterclass on sales, and I think everybody knows that Debbie has 30 years of experience in sales.
I think we probably do by now. There's been about 50 posts.
And teaching business owners on sales.
Mm.
Debbie is part of Sloan and Hull, which you can find on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a business that she runs with her husband, who also teaches business owners on sales.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Juliana, for joining us. And whoever's watching the recording, you are now going to be handed over to Debbie, who's going to tell you 10 reasons for having a script when you're selling. So I'm handing it over to you, Debbie.
Thanks, Tanya, and thank you for inviting me to be on your masterclass. It's a privilege to be here because I know you're very selective too. So thanks for that. Yes. But yeah, myself and my husband are a big believer in scripts because we've used them a lot throughout our career. I'm not saying that we use them every day per se for us, because we've got that kind of experience now where we don't need the script, or sometimes if we're going into a new company with a new product or whatever, we might do a basic one for ourselves. But for anybody that's coming into the business of selling and they're not used to doing one-to-one selling or even one-to-many, or even if they want to go to a conference and speak to people, there's a way of connecting with people and communicating with people that makes for a better situation for yourselves to come across in front of people. And there's 10 reasons. I've noted 10 down, Juliana, at the moment, purely because there are more. There's more and more reasons why you should have one, in our opinion anyway. I mean, it's not something that you have to stick with forever, and it's not set in stone and it's not concrete, but scripts are vital to businesses. That's what we've found over the last 40 years, and we work hands-on with small business, startups, national companies. We've run teams from 2 up to 95. So, there's literally lots and lots of reasons why we think scripts are important, because we've got the statistics and the results. And my cats are just starting to run around behind the curtain, so I apologise, Tanya. I might have to lock them out of the room in a minute. Okay. But yes, so we think they're very important. I just want to go through them really and give you the reasons why, and why it will help you sell. Certainly if you haven't got any experience in sales. Even if you have got experience in sales, we have found that it will increase high-powered salespeople, even anywhere between 5 and 10% on their results, just by utilising. Did you hear that? I do apologise.
I can do with an
You're going to have to lock them in a room for a minute. Sorry, Tanya. So yeah, I do apologise. Barmy cats, barmy kittens. Yeah, so there's lots of reasons why. Now that I'm not distracted, I can carry on. You should have one. And I just want to start off with the first one, which is the most obvious one. And that's for consistency, in my opinion. So, I've put this one as a reason, because when you're trying to build a brand, when you're trying to build what you're trying to say to people, how you say it, how you portray it, how you come across, whatever, if you can be consistent in what you're doing until you get a grip on your intuition, and which is a great driver of sales, obviously, for most people. A lot of people use their intuition if they're going to get great results and be able to swing on that on a regular basis. But consistency for a script is key. so that you're constantly saying the same thing and getting used to what you're saying. Because if you're looking at the script and you see pages and pages and pages of what you're supposed to say, what you're supposed to do, it's hard to get it in your head the first time you're using it. It's hard to get it in your head even over a period of a week. You know, it can take weeks to get a really good script. It depends on how long your presentation is. It depends on how long your conversation is with that person. It depends what you're presenting to them. If it's a short presentation, obviously you can get to know it a bit quicker. But for the consistency of the key points as well that you want to get across to the person for your sales presentation or your sales appointment or your conversation, whichever you want to call it, your communication with anybody is key to have a script to start consistently coming up with the same thing, so that you're not basically shooting off fireworks all over the shop in your mind, and obviously can't seem to center on what you're actually doing. That's another reason. But yeah, so consistency for a sales script for your product or services is going to increase your chance of closing the sale, because you're being more and more confident in what you're saying on a consistent basis. So it's going to up your closing rates as well for that reason. So that's the first one I'd like to discuss. I don't know whether you found that it helped you be consistent more on what you were saying, Tanya?
In my early days, I did really need a script, and I had a script from my coach, and I adapted it, and then second coach, who then gave me some of her experience of kind of, this is what I remember she saying, and I think it's so true, that a sales call is like a dance. You're dancing with your prospective client,
or a date,
or like a date, and you really need to understand that dynamic. And I felt that really stayed with me. And the times I've actually forgotten that is the times I haven't closed the sale. And the times that I've remembered that, I have closed the sale.
Yeah. Which is why if you can do something to get consistent, it doesn't become automatic pilot kind of thing, because you still have to deliver it in a way that's non-robotic. Because we could quite easily slip into automatic pilot now, myself and my husband, but if you do that, then people tend to switch off. So there's a minus to it as well if you're too consistent and you just become automatic. So but obviously consistency will build up, helping you close the sale, helping you talk to people, helping you remember what you're saying. It's going to imprint it on your brain a lot easier.
Juliana, what's your experience? Have you used a script?
Maybe she's dropped out again. The signal's not very clever.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes. We can hear you. Wonderful. Have you used scripts? Have you used scripts?
I tried using scripts, but it didn't feel me natural, so to say, to use that. Also, although I know that it can be helpful to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you found that it's hard to get your head around them, or have you found them a bit overwhelming at times, or?
I find it a bit overwhelming, or a bit I don't know how to word this.
Unnatural.
Unnatural, yes.
Yeah,
like that.
A lot of people say that. A lot of people say that. Well, listen, there could be a reason to that, which moves me on to point number 2, which is simplicity. A lot of people tend to overdo scripts and put too much in there. And for that reason, obviously, a confused mind doesn't buy. So if you're not using the word simplicity when you're building your script, you're gonna put too much technical information in there for one point. You might just put key benefits in there rather than putting a great big list of everything. Obviously you want to adapt it to the person in front of you, and that some of that comes with the gut feeling and the intuition that you build up in experience over time. But simplicity is key with the script, and that's probably where you've got overwhelmed, because somebody's tried to pack everything into it for you and just give you everything. But obviously you don't need to spout out everything. It's like going to see you know, one of your friends at work, and you want to tell her a story about something, but she doesn't need to know everything about this. She doesn't need to know that you picked up the chocolate bar at the corner shop on, you know, at a such and such a time. She just wants to know that you ate that chocolate bar and what the end result was that she's telling the story, kind of thing. You don't have to know all the points sometimes. You have to adapt it to the person in front of you. So for simplicity reason, that's probably why you got a bit overwhelmed. It was probably too much in there for you to remember and to adapt and to use, to be fair. And everything should be in sales, everything should be kept simple, everything. Because simple things, if you keep it simple, then the customer's got more clarity, you've got more clarity. You know, it's an easier conversation. You're not as strained on the conversation for a start. Or even if you're writing text for the same reason, it's easier to understand. Sorry.
And I'm so glad that you've said that. No, don't apologize. I'm so glad that you've said that, because in the early days, if you don't know what your offer is, that's where the complication comes.
Yeah.
If you have, like, in your high mind, I don't know, one low ticket offer or a medium ticket offer, you're not going to go with the high ticket offer. You know, like you kind of keep saying, which is a theme that I've picked up from you, Debbie, is you need to adapt it to the person in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And I feel
that's
like
why they're not set in stone. Yeah.
And that's why I feel like lots of people that teach scripts, there's certain people that kind of, like, you know, like, make it, this is, you've got to, like, stick by this. If you don't stick by this, you know, you're not going to get, you know, like, when I'm thinking of, like, you know, telesales, you know, they have these
very
scripts
robotic.
and that's how you're taught.
No,
and I think there is a part of, like, the coaching industry, and some parts in the online space, that it's kind of, you got to do it this way, and if you don't do it this way,
it's not going to be successful.
Know, like, it's the highway, and that's not true, is it?
Well, a part of that is compliance, because when they're ringing people, and because we deal with that a lot in sales, because there's, and you know all about compliance in your job, I should imagine, Tanya, but compliance is a massive part of selling, because we're regulated, just like any other industry. And, you know, I'll talk about it later on one of the points, but the part where people get in trouble with scripts is where they start telling lies and adapting things to their own, you know, benefit rather than the client's benefit. You don't need to do that. You're gonna get lots of reasons, which I'll cover in a minute, as to why that would be a failure to do that anyway, to even take that client on in the first place, you know, just for chalking the number on the board, which is what I say all the time. Don't just go and chalk a number on a board for the sake of taking £5,000 off someone to sell them a high ticket, because it's only going to come back on you. It's going to bite you back in the butt. I don't care what anybody says, be it buyer's remorse, and they cancel, they stop the payments, they badmouth you, whatever it is, you know, it's going to come back and bite you in the butt if you manipulate somebody into buying from you that doesn't want to buy from you.
And,
you know,
and this is the first community that I came across. It was very much about, you need to get the sale on the first call. They need to give you their credit card details on the first call. That having, you know, can you imagine, Debbie, having that pressure on somebody like me, who was not used to selling for money, right? I am used, I now understand. You know, like, having that pressure that person gives you their credit card details in the sale is a tremendous amount of pressure. And subsequently I found out that, you know, they didn't always do it like that. You know, the person gave the credit card details in the second call or the third call.
Sometimes they don't tell you that.
A few calls.
They don't tell you that.
Right. And they didn't tell me that. Right. And so it's you need to kind of, like, put sometimes the pressure off you and not put the pressure back onto the client. It has to be such a relaxed atmosphere that it feels like a natural conversation.
Absolutely.
Does that make any sense?
And that comes with experience and intuition as you're building it on both, because some people are very intuitive, which is why they can make a great salesperson seemingly from scratch, what they call a natural born salesperson. Nobody's naturally born at sales. They've got a great character, they've got a great personality, and they're very intuitive. That helps Yeah, that helps. They're key, talents for a good salesperson, but it doesn't mean that they can't be built. Skills are skills, and building your intuition is something that can be a skill, and also experience obviously is skill, because the more you get in front of people, the more you talk to them, the more you get used to them. I've got people that I talk to now in sales, and this is why I'm saying this point of simplicity. Certain clients won't even want me to actually go through the presentation. I said, no, Deb, I like you, I like the price, I need the product. Just tell me it does what it does for me that I'm looking for, and I want to buy. So what is the point of me presenting everything? Yeah. So this is where you selectively take out parts of the script that you don't need to present. Obviously, you still need to be compliant and do certain parts that you need to make sure that they're not going to have buyer's remorse afterwards and go, well, you didn't tell me it did that. You didn't tell me it did this. But, make sure you put the bits in that are important. But, you have to adapt it to everybody. Other people want to know the ins and outs of everything it does before they'll make a decision. And they may even tell you at the end of it that they want to think about it, which is fine. I don't care if somebody wants to think about it. If they want to think about it, they're entitled to. I'm not going to tell them they can't, so yeah, there's different clients, and that's why you have to adapt, and you'll get to feel that, and you'll get to know that this one's going to buy from me straight away. I know they are. They're just keen. This one is going to think about it, which is fine. And I'm not going to push too hard. I'm going to push, but I'm not going to push too hard. I'm going to make sure it's what they want. But there's pushing and there's pushing. And this is what manipulative scripts do. They push, 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 push. There's a gentle guidance on a proper script, on a great script. There's a gentle guidance.
So that's the first reason, consistency.
Yes, and second one is simplicity, obviously, to keep it simple, because obviously it's going to relieve the pressure, as you say, not only on the person delivering the script and telling the person what they need to know, but the person receiving it as well, because don't forget, they're sitting there expecting to be sold to, thinking straight away on guard, I've got my guard up, I'm not going to buy, you're not going to sell to me really easily, I'm not going to be a pushover, because nobody wants to be that. For the salesperson in front of them. So straight away, there's barriers there. So you've got to keep it simple so that there's clarity, there's movement, there's fluidity, all of that. I've lost Tanya, but I'll keep going if not.
I hope Juliana could see. Sorry, I've got calls coming in because it's Ramadan, so I've got family.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it'll relieve the pressure. It takes the guessing away. Because of the simplicity, it takes the guessing away for both you and the client. And if you keep it simple, it's going to be easier for you to deliver it, and you're going to come across more authoritative because of the confidence and the ease of what you're delivering it as well. So you're going to be in more control, as it were. And it's not a manipulation, it's just in more control. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
If that makes sense.
Juliana, are you did you have a very complicated script when you were using scripts?
I wouldn't say that it was complicated. It's just, I don't know. Just I couldn't really relate to this, and probably because I was having kind of bad experience with cold calling and sales on the first time. I first tried myself in sales. And then, I don't know, I had this challenge since then.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, cold calling for anybody is hard anyway, because if they've not done it before, especially, it can seem really, really daunting. I personally love cold calling. I'm so used to it now, I'm thick-skinned. So it's what I still do for a living. So, I'm still doing that every day. I go out and find my own leads with my husband on behalf of clients, and we train our own teams to go and do the same. So, it's just something I'm used to now. Did I like it to begin with? Absolutely not. I was petrified. I used to sweat. I used to shake. I used to stand outside the business, and the hardest door to get out of was my car door. I didn't want to get out my car door at all. I just wanted to stay in the safety of my door with my music on, talking to my friends on my mobile phone. I just didn't want to get out of the car. So I understand the cold calling aspect of it. It's really not nice when you're first in it. But it's a lack of experience, it's a lack of knowing what to do, it's a lack of knowledge on how to handle it and how to best go about it and what to say. And people are predictable. I used to usually go by the British public because that's who I work with, but obviously I'm international now, so that's cool. But yeah, British public can be hard at the best of times, can't they, Tanya, to deal with? And yeah, it's tough sometimes because they instantly know you're trying to sell to them. So you're going to come up against that barrier, but you've got to let that barrier go, because you've got to realize that if you had someone in front of you trying to sell to you, you'd feel the same way. Right, they're not selling to me today, but I'll sit and listen to them. You might be a nice person who just wants to sit and listen to them, which is fine. But, you know, instantly people will put their barrier up about being sold to anyway. And that happens with everyone. So you just got to think, oh, well, they're going to instantly have a barrier, so I'll work around that, you know. And it's the same for cold calling. So, but yeah, so number 3 of what I've got that I want to discuss on the script. Sorry, my phone keeps going off. I've forgot to take my timer lock off. So let me just come up to point number 3, because there's a reason I've done them in this order, because I want to get to the end one, which is vital for me. Yeah, so professionalism basically is number 3. You're going to come across a hell of a lot more professional if you're using a script to present yourself, yeah, which obviously is going to allow you to appear like you've got more knowledge because of what you're saying in the depth of the script as well, because it's going to cover, if it's a great script, it's going to cover all the benefits, some of the features. You don't have to cover all of the features, you know, of a product, most people, or a service, because most people know what they are already. Or even if you're having a chat or a conversation with somebody initially, just to see if you're a good fit, you know, it's still best to have a script for even for that, so that you've got a structure on how to approach that person, talk to them, what to say. Yeah, I'll get rid of my ums, because eventually these will go off video. I keep trying to stop saying But yeah, so professionalism is one, and it comes across a lot more authoritative if you know what you're saying and know what you're doing. And you're going to be in the hot seat. Sorry, they're going to be in the hot seat more than you, because you're obviously going to be in more control, which obviously will give you the upper hand slightly, but it's not on a manipulation level. It's just purely so that you can guide and control the conversation easier for you to get everything across that you need to get across. Yeah. So in that respect, it's going to help to be come across more professional if you have, but not professional as in too stiff, too robotic, too this is what I've got to say, I've got to finish my script, I've got to say everything before you're even allowed to speak or interject or anything like that. It's not a question of that at all. You know, it's going to actually raise questions and cover a lot of their objections as well on a professional basis. Sorry, did somebody say something then?
No.
Sorry, I thought somebody
I
said
think because this is what you actually said, I just want to capture it. It puts the pressure off you.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it puts the pressure back onto the client.
No.
Perspective,
but it takes it, yeah.
It takes it off you, and then the client is listening to you.
Yeah, more
right?
intently. Yeah.
Wants to kind of hear what you have to sell. So I think scripts really help, especially if you are dealing with buyers, not prospective buyer, not somebody considering buying, because obviously for them to kind of come onto a sales call with you, right, is that they kind of want to buy, right? And I do know in the online space, people have kind of come onto I think I saw somebody, I got somebody on a sales call and they were trying to sell to me, right?
Yeah.
That kind of happens, especially now with the online coaching space becoming more and more noisy and more competitive.
Yeah. It's always been competitive. I was in it 20 years ago with my husband, so, you know.
If you have a genuine buyer that's actually really interested, it helps, especially if you've had before they've met you on Zoom, say, but you've had like a few conversations on like chat stations on Messenger before they've met you on Zoom. You've had like this build up of a conversation via email or whatever it is, that helps, or inside Facebook group or comments. That really helps, because for them to be on a sales call, I presume majority of people have some kind of relationship with you.
Yeah.
But having it, even if you don't have that relationship, it then helps you because it's, you know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do them, that also helps, doesn't it? Would you say?
It doesn't mean it doesn't, when I say professional, it doesn't mean that you can't mess up. It doesn't mean that you can't say the wrong thing and regroup and get, oh God, the faux pas I've said over the time, and even daily now, I still come out with them. It's just one of them things. You can move on from that. What it does is allow you to become professional in what you're delivering and what you're saying and everything else, but it doesn't mean that you can't be human still. And deliver a speech or a conversation that can be flexible to mistakes and errors and everything else. It just helps to cut a lot of those down, and it also helps to stop the gaps in your head. When you're thinking, oh God, what do I say here, and what do I fill in the gap with this? Oh, I can't think of a question, I can't think of something, and it just stops all of that kind of thing going on as well. So it makes you look a lot more professional in that respect, not as if you've got an answer for everything, but as if you can confidently overcome anything that they've got queries on. So that's what I mean by professionalism in that respect. Okay, so for me, point number 4. Obviously, people can arrange these however they want. And there's loads more, as I say. I'm just picking up on the main 10 points for me. And this is a real crucial one for me, which is what we use it for. And that's structure. So the whole point of having a structure is that it provides a direction of the conversation that you need it to go, so that you can part qualify through it, stop and ask the right questions at the right point, interact with the client at the right point, get the client to interact at the right point, even get the client to agree with you at the right point, at some point in that conversation. And again, this is where it can be construed as being manipulative when certain people use it the wrong way, this section of the structure, so that they get people to, believe lies or whatever they've told. But ethical sales scripts, great ones, are just a structure and a guide that leads the client, so that you're not firing off everywhere, like I said, with fireworks, on what do I say here and what do I fill in with this gap, and the client's thinking, oh, she said that, and then now she said that, but I'm still thinking about that part of the product or service, and I haven't even got to that part yet. And you're guiding them through on this lovely journey, if you like, of a script that ticks all the boxes on what they need to know, how they need to move on. Certain parts of it, even the client might turn around and say, well, I don't need to know all this section, I'm all right with that section. Well, that's fine, you can move on and just leapfrog to the next bit. But at least you've covered all the objections, you've covered all the questions, you've covered all the interaction that you need from the client to see whether there's any interest there. Because don't forget, at some certain points throughout your script, throughout your conversation, you'll be looking for buying signals on whether that person's interested in buying today, tomorrow, in the future, whatever it is. Yeah. So it's a great vital part of the script is the structure and where it's going to lead to and how it ends up in the close.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's vital. It's part of the script. Now, for me, point number 5. I don't know whether you've got any questions on that or whether you're okay with that.
You're okay with that? Does that make any sense, Juliana? Structure?
Yes, it makes sense. Just my son is filming in the background,
Oh,
and that's why I muted myself.
well, you can listen. You can catch a replay if he's playing you up anyway, so don't worry. But yeah, so the structure is really important for that reason, and it will eventually help you close the sale if it's structured properly. A great script structured the right way will take you through the sale with so much more ease, and efficiency. And that's point number 5, which is why it leads into that. It's so much more efficient to have a script for that reason. Having well-written script, I'm reading off my own notes because I've been on the road all week. So I'm literally, I know all this anyway, but, in any one period in time, you've got more chances of closing deals, as I say, because it's going to show that you're more efficient at what you're doing, and it shows that you've got a level of knowledge, a level of experience, and it might only be a short level of experience. You might have only just started using the script, but if you use a great script, It's going to just make you feel so much more comfortable and experienced straight off the bat. We have, which I'll cover in another point, but we have over 80% success rate with scripts rather than not using one with our sales stuff that we train. So for us, it's huge. There's a huge yes for that for us. And I should imagine it would be that way for a lot of people who are new into sales. You know, even people with sales experience can use a tweak in here and there to get more efficiency, more productivity, whatever, you know. So yeah, for that reason, it's good. So point number 6 for me, which I've now lost my notes again. Sorry, my phone turned around. Bear with me, Tanya. Would you say it's more efficient to use a script?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually, as I said, you know, you obviously know, I've developed my own script. The more confident I've become, I've got my own scripts, and so it's, and also you can sometimes just tell like you said, intuition plays a big part. Sometimes tell that the person's not going to buy. Yeah, and so I don't push.
There's the right ways to push in a good script. A good script will still have the right pushes in it to make sure it's not just an objection that needs answering before they'll buy, because there's buying signals and there's non-buying signals, but then some of those non-buying signals are just a question, but people don't want to raise their hand because they don't want to be sold to. Certain people are confident being sold to, so they'll just raise their hand and say, well, answer me this, and so I can move on to that level in my head where we're next at the point in the sale. But majority of people aren't confident enough to raise their hand and ask that question because they think, if I ask that, it's going to look like I want it today, you know, so they won't ask it for that reason. So you have to kind of do a bit of the presuming for them in the script for that reason.
But the way I am in my business, I've gone beyond sales calls.
Yeah.
Because now I offer one-off consultations, which they have to purchase. So because I know how much value I give, and then within that one-off consultation, if they want to continue working with me, then, you know, they can purchase one, or I then upsell. So that's how I work.
Yeah. But that's it. But all of that is springboarded from a script in the first place, because it's allowed you to get used to what you're saying and how you deliver it, you know. Don't you think?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. And it's also to do with how much you're kind of blossoming as an entrepreneur, because would I have to start having a one-off consultation when I first started? Of course I wouldn't. Didn't even kind of know that I could do it that way. So you're making I think it's about how also confident you are in whatever product or service that you're selling. So if you're not confident in the product or the service that you're selling, it's going to come up in the script, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously that having belief in what you sell. Look, do I believe in every single product that I sell? I make sure I do. Do I believe in it initially? Probably not, you know, but I'll make sure I believe in every product that I sell. I'll find the reason why I believe in that product that I sell, you know. So you have to go through that. That's part of the psychology of delivering the sale or selling is, you know, believing. Half of it's the belief in what you're doing, you know, because you can literally go out and sell anything. It's a skill. Once you've got the skill, it's quite a powerful tool, and you could sell anything to anybody. But having the belief in it first is going to move you to a successful sale more often than not. So your skill to earn money from it is going to obviously erupt the more belief you have in it and the more truth that's in the script, for the simple reason of that, and the belief that's built into the script will move mountains with the script, I believe. And eventually you can let go of the script, you know, completely, because you'll understand, and you'll understand what you're saying and what you're doing. And then you can build a new script for your new product, your new service, based on the old script, and then update it, and then, you know, move on from that one eventually as well when you've got the experience from that. But it's just a great springboard, a great foundation, I believe.
Can I just to contextualize it, because I know other people are going to watch this masterclass. When you're talking about scripts, are you talking about face-to-face Zoom calls or face-to-face
anything? Anything. Look, a script can be the initial approach to somebody cold. You've still got a script for that part of it. You've got a script for the presentation. You've got a script for the actual presentation of your products. If you're on a sales call, you've got a script for how that initial contact should go, even before you even get to the sales call. On the DMs, that's scripted. You know, anything can be scripted, even if it's a post selling to people. It can be scripted. Yeah. To sell to them in a certain way. With marketing and sales, I find are sister and brothers. They're slightly different, but they're pretty much the same.
Cool. You need to know your message. You need to have your message.
I mean, they're often at odds in sales. In businesses, they're often at odds. There's the marketing department and the sales department, and they don't like to mingle. One thinks they're a hierarchy, and the other one just doesn't care, you know. And we can't find that quite a lot in businesses when we go inside them, and ones that we've worked in over the years. But you know, they are sister and brother. They are pretty much on the same page. They're just slightly different on the approach, you know. But so marrying up a good script, and say, for argument's sake, the reason I'm saying that on the deliverance, on even on the approach, myself and my husband were working for way back in the day. I think I'm going back a few years now. I can't remember what year it was, in the 2000s, I think. And we were doing the deregulation of the gas and electric for people door to door, and we were running teams on that. So we were recruited to run teams and train them and build a script. So that's part of what we do as part of our service, is build a customized script for the company as well that we work for, that gives them the best results for the majority of the team. Now, obviously, out of 100 people, not every person's going to sit well with that script. There's parts of it they use, parts of it they don't. We've assessed, we've ascertained that already. However, just the first opening line of a good script can get the majority of your staff the opportunity to actually speak to that potential client. Just the first line. And that's the same in marketing. The very first line of your post, your letter, your leaflet, whatever it is. So in that respect, a script and a post and marketing can be very similar, you know, and on the structure of them, it's leading them through from engagement through to wanting and needing through to buying. Yeah. So pretty much all the same. Yeah. So for argument's sake, one good line can deliver you a potentially 50% increase on your staff speaking and engaging to someone that day across your whole team. So that's how vital it can be, having a script, you know.
And marketing at the end of the day is just persuasion, isn't it? It's persuading.
They all are.
Kind of, if you kind of understand it, make it very simple, that's what marketing is. This is persuading your prospective buyer to buy your product or your service.
Absolutely. And it's, you know, it's just taking the human aspect out of it, but there's still a human behind it building the words, unless it's an AI now, which is whole nother story,
whole other kind of thing.
But there's still
I like to humanize, because my services are very much with me, and expect people to watch.
Absolutely, and that's what you've got to do to the script. If someone builds you a script, you humanize it yourself by putting your own spin, your own personality. I mean, if somebody's good enough to have wrote you a great script anyway that's customized for you, then obviously they're going to take into consideration everything about you anyway first before they build that script. So, you know, and the product that you're delivering, you know, or selling, or service that you're selling. Now, for me, customization is pretty much what we're talking about now, is number 7.
Is that 7?
Yeah, I've done 6, haven't I? 6 was confidence. Sorry, did I jump one? But we pretty much covered that it's going to cover your confidence anyway. You know, not only is it going to make you more confident, it's going to make the client more confident to buy from you the script. Especially if you're consistent, because you're delivering it with more belief, more consistency, you know, more confidence. It's certainly going to swing your confidence levels hugely. You know, it's a bit like what is it called, placebo, you know, where you can give someone a sugar pill or a headache tablet, and the headache goes away with either. You know, so you've just provided a script that takes away most of the issue. That's all we're saying. And people tend to lean on it as like a little crutch when they're first getting to know what they should say, what they should do, how they should react, how they should, you know, all of that's built into a script quite cleverly, you know. And it doesn't mean it's manipulative. It just means it's coherent for both the person who's delivering it and the person who's receiving it. Simple as that. Yeah. So for that reason, customization comes after confidence, I believe. And well, in this respect, it does. But customization, yeah, obviously it can be fitted around the product, the project, the campaign, whatever it is you're doing, you know, the person who's delivering it, their personality, their characteristics, who they are as a person, you know. A great script is that. It's general, but then it can be personal as well, so that it makes it even more comfortable and more professional to deliver, and more ease, more built into it, obviously. So customization is key in a script, I believe, anyway. You know, you can use one generally on a team of 20, 30 people, but they still have to fit their own personality and character around it. And that's what we train people to do. Yeah, so moving on to point 8, Tanya. When I can get my phone open again, I should have put my timer off, my fault. Oh yeah, obviously, one of the main ones is overcoming objections. You know, the whole point of having the structure of the script, which I believe was point 4, was it? Yeah, point 4, is to guide the client to ask the right questions at the right time, even if you're first approaching them from cold. It's to take away the surprise of what you're expecting from that client that's going to throw you off, or to take away the surprise for the client so that they don't feel quite so cold towards you, and you can warm them up a hell of a lot quicker. So in that respect, you know, overcoming the objections built into the script, you know, the approaches, the common objections from customers can be quite easily overcome with a good script. Individualized objections is where you need to draw them out of people, and great questioning within that script will bring out the individual's objections, because everybody's got their own personality and a character for that reason too, that's buying. So, and you have to find their own personal objections. It could be, you know, anything, like their wife is totally different to anybody else's wife, so they'd have to speak to her first. You know, it could be anything. So yeah, for that reason, that's all I've got really to say on that point. Overcoming objections is one of the main reasons of having a great script.
Overcoming objections,
it takes the pain and the fear of it away. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, this was kind of my experience in the early days about, I mean, you know, you get used to like, I don't have the time. That's one objection. Yeah. I don't have the money.
They're easy to get over.
Right. I don't have, I need to ask permission from somebody, business partner, wife,
smokescreen,
whoever. The fourth, there's another one.
There's normally no time, no money. Ian, reel them off for me. You know all these. No desire, no need, no time, no money. Zig Ziglar says it all.
Yeah, I don't need this right now. That's it. Yeah. I don't need this right now.
Yeah. No need, no time, no desire, you know. No money.
The big one.
Is the big one. Yeah. No money is the one that you need to get over. That's the hardest one to get over, obviously, because you can't go in someone's wallet or raid their bank account and have a look to see if they've got the money in there. So, you know, it's just, you have to take them at the word if they say they've got no money. And obviously people can throw that up as a smoke screen. So a great script gets over the smoke screens. Yeah. Sorry, Tanya, I can't hear you.
And what would be your...
That's it. I got you again now.
Can you hear me? I got you.
Yep.
Yeah. What would be your experience of overcoming I don't have any money? Is it to kind of do is it like a payment plan, or is it to
I mean, look, I mean, you build that into your script individually on each you know, on each person's product or service. It depends on what they're offering, how the product sits, how that person sits, whether they've got it in their work ethic to continue collecting payments, whatever, you know. It depends what you want. It depends how you're set up as a business.
Yeah.
Whether you need the money up front or whether you need it long term.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Sometimes it goes by the product as
And
well.
it also depends on
yeah.
selling.
A lot of people
selling
tend,
high ticket.
yeah, I think a lot of people tend to go for upfront payments that obviously they want the money, up front. I think people who believe in their products more go long term more. Who've got the belief in their products. I think a lot of people tend to get the money quick, get it in the bank before they change their mind in case the product doesn't stand up to it, So I don't know, it depends on the individual, I'd have to have a look at the scenario for people. We come up with all sorts of different things that help with productivity. Objections is a whole different bag. There's a whole scenario.
Having a script is gives you kind of, it's an elegant dance.
Yeah. There's ways you can build the questioning of these objections into the script, or even a phrase that you might say that would bring a response from that client that would then tell you whether they've got the money, or it doesn't always work. It's only a percentage accurate, it's only probably 80-90% accurate, and then you'll find out at the end, because don't forget, buyers are liars too, so sometimes they'll tell you they've got the money and turn up to your appointment and they haven't got anything, and they've got no intention of buying off you. They just wanted to know what was going on and hear what you've got to say. You're going to come across that as well. And obviously a great script too will actually weed them people out.
Sellers are not always.
I'm sorry, say that again.
That's true. I think that's a valid point you've made. The sellers are not always unethical. Sometimes buyers can be unethical too.
Absolutely. You get a lot of buyers wasting your time. I'm hearing it all across the internet all the time. Oh, I made 10 appointments and 8 of them never turned up. Well, how well did you make the appointments in the first place? Firstly. Secondly, what kind of people were you appointing? There's lots of, a good script will qualify your customer or your client in front of you better as well. Even from the get-go, even from the approach, even from the DM level, you can qualify your clients much, much better with a great script. Just because it gets to the point and cuts out all the guesswork from both sides, because you're leading the conversation that way. So it's good for qualification too. I think that was one of my points. I might have skipped one there. But let me just have another look. What number were we on, Tanya? Sorry. Number 8 now we're going to.
Overcoming objections.
I'm sorry, say that again. Overcoming objections.
You were on point 8. Overcoming objections.
Perhaps it's
came to point 9.
Yeah. To apologise. Let me just log in. So overcoming objections. So it's going to help you easily handle difficult situations, because it'll overcome the majority of the general objections. You'll still have to deal with them at the end, because some of them are a bit more personal behind that. So obviously you'll have to overcome that at the end, and that's when you just ask if there's any more questions before you finalise. Even if you're in a conversation or an approach, if you're trying to get an appointment, if you're trying to get a connection with that person, even in your posts or in your comments in your posts, there's a certain way of asking the questions to lead that as well. So a great sales script can also be used to track the success of your sales conversations and your metrics. So your metrics are vital, because it gives you your closing rate, your appointment rates, your bums on seat rates, that you can actually get people to turn up at the appointments and stay in the appointments, and see how they see how many people take up your appointments, all sorts of things. So they're great for metrics as well, to also see what point people are buying from. You can normally generally tell at what point in the script as well where they're buying, what needs a little bit more work, so for that, for the metrics of the script too, that's fantastic. It can give you a lot of key clues as to where your staff are going wrong, or where you might need a tune up, or where you can even increase your conversion rates, so in that respect it's very good too. And the 10th one that I want to talk about at the moment is scalability. For any business, a great script will actually allow you to scale. Not only because once you've got an established script that you've used, that works, that you've fine-tuned, that you've geared to yourself, but you can use as a general script because you can take the generalizations from it. You can then pass that on to an employee to take over your sales role so that you can expand twice as much and bring in twice as many sales, 3 times as many sales if you take on 3 people. You can, you know, sorry, say that again.
Was that 0.9 scale?
10. 0.9. Have I jumped one again? Excuse me.
What did I say was 0.9?
0.9 was metrics. I only went over that slightly.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just didn't write that.
0.9 was metrics. You can always go and watch a replay, Tanya. No, I'm only joking. I'm only pulling you leg. But yeah, no, 0.9 was the metrics. How to actually, you know, increase your conversion, increase your appointments, increase your qualification, increase everything. So once you've got the premise of this script, you can actually see what points that people are buying from, people are taking interest from, where the generalizations come from as an average, so that obviously you can better yourself that way too, you know, and increase your productivity and conversions and sales. But scalability is the one that's the key that it leads to at the end, because pardon?
Is that for higher like appointment setters and stuff like that?
No, even for yourself. I mean, you know, if you want to do something on an increased scale, once you've got an established script, it's what we call a scalable script. So it then can be used as an evergreen thing to sell, to approach, to appoint, to, you know, to do all what you're doing, but on a greater scale. It's a bit like a one-on-one or a group program. When you've got a great script, you can use it in lots and lots of different ways, not only as well to employ staff, to double your manpower, you know, to double your ability, you know. And even if you then want to create a sales team, appointment setters, whatever it is you want to do, you can jump from a great script from that once you've established it. So it will really, really expand your business. That's when it comes into the level that myself and Ian work at.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because you don't just work with small businesses, you work with big businesses as well, don't you?
It could be anything. It could be, we could be doing we might not even sell for them, you know. They might just want training. So, you know, we'll go in and look at their scripts, we'll go and train them. Because some people have got established teams already and they're really happy with them. They just haven't got the productivity level that they want for that team. You know, the top 2 people out the 10 sales stuff they have are doing the productivity. Nobody else is. They're all way off target. So, you know, it could be something they're saying, something they're doing. It could be the product. You know, you've got to go and suss that out. But myself and Ian don't do anything unless we can sell it ourselves first. So we wouldn't go in and train a team and say, oh, we know what to do, we can do that, without actually going out and doing it ourselves first on the ground level. So we go out and do it, achieve it, and then go in.
I've got a question. I think it's kind of very specific to coaching and or therapy, right? So either coaching or therapy. Because what I find is a lot of the time the prospective buyer, or even if they've kind of bought from you in the past, they do trust you. So the issue I find is it's not that they don't trust me.
Yeah.
They don't trust themselves, because they know by working with me, they're going to be, you know, like, you know, going to their next level of success.
Vulnerable. They've got to be vulnerable. Yeah, they've got to open up with you.
They're going to get exposed, and it's not going to be pleasant. Some of what the work I do is very raw, it's very tender, it's very it's opening them up. And I find that the ones that are ready are the ones that decide to work with me. So how do you is kind of having that script about this is
for you, it's vital, because obviously yours is definitely individualized, and for that reason you need to bring your people on a different journey that's slightly more gentle, but also overcomes their fears, their insecurities, you know, answers any objections. Again, the same objections. I mean, obviously you've got the general objections, no time, no money, blah, 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 but your objections are more specific. You know, can I trust this person? Can I open up to her? can I know that she's going to be confidential with me, and that it won't go any further, even if I can trust her to talk to, that she won't spout it to anybody else, you know? So there's all sorts of objections they can have in their mind that are more specific. And obviously there's a ton that other people can have for the products and services that they want, but the general objections are the buying objections. But yeah, so yours would have to be customized for that reason, because it can bring them on a much easier journey that makes it less tense for you to talk about things. And obviously the questions that you can ask them to even bring them into the appointment can open them up a little bit easier as well, so that it's easier for you both to open up. I'm sure you've got plenty of tactics over the years in your job to open people up.
Yeah. And I think it's being empathetic to the fact that you understand vulnerable, and they, you know, this might be, especially for my higher ticket programs, this is probably the very first time that they've actually invested that amount of money to work with someone. And I always use my own experience of the very first time that I actually bought a high ticket program, and that was my first time I actually bought online coaching, right? And I think at the time I was like, I'm crazy, I must be crazy doing this, and you know, like kind of like just kind of reminding myself how I felt, because I think if you don't remind yourself how the customer is feeling, they're gonna feel that coldness, they're gonna feel the fact that you're, you know, you're not understanding.
Absolutely. And in your line of business, you have to put down the main pain points and stuff like that for your clients, you know, and build that into your script, for sure, definitely. Be it on the contact, be it on the presentation for your service or product, rather than just throw it at them in the face. Some people don't want to, some people, you have to find out intuitively whether some people even want reminding of those pain points. Some people don't, you know, some people just don't want to. They're dealing with them enough day to day. They don't want to hear them again from somebody else that they don't know yet. You know, they're ready to open up when they're ready to open up.
That's what I find is, although I'm not reminding them of their pain points, I'm reminding them that where they can go, the glory points, the feeling of success.
Yes.
And what I find is a lot of people.
And
I was really shocked when I kind of discovered this, because, you know, I kind of work with, you know, like my social work clients are different to my, you know, business clients, and I was like, people are afraid of success, and that
they are. I've had sales staff that are scared of earning money like the top people in the team. They're scared of it, so they don't know what to do with it, because they'll take it home and the family won't know who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
For me, I've learned, and I'm still learning, that, you know, this is really a very, very genuine fear, and it's how to kind of nurture that, and how to kind of help them kind of step into that.
I mean, they've obviously, I mean, look, most things are obviously inbuilt from experience. For fear of money, you know, and success and stuff like that. Some people are afraid that once they get success, it's a level of incompetent. Well, they've been competent to get there, but they're incompetent to know how they've done it. Are you with me? And they think that they feel like a fraud for that reason. Once they get the success, they're like, I mean, we go through this every day with sales staff. You've got the competent guy who's competently competent, you know, who's fantastic, and he can do everything on autopilot and everything else. You've got the guy at the very beginning who hasn't got a clue. He's just incompetent at everything. And then you've got the ones in between that are difficult ones to kind of work with sometimes, because obviously they're good at what they do. They just don't know how they do it. And you try and adjust that and tweak that to get an extra level of productivity out of them, and they haven't got a clue what they're doing in the first place. They don't they can't get their head around what you're telling them to adjust, you know. So it can be but once people get there, it can be quite scary, because they think, well, I know what I did to get there, so I couldn't even teach someone else it, you know.
And so it's something that I think this is very nuanced to coaching, is to kind of hold them in the sales call, and kind of giving them that taste of the whatever you've got to offer,
Yeah.
but not give them everything, because if they are like, then they feel that they've kind of got everything, so then why would they then need to buy from you? So that's a very
we spoke about this, didn't we? Yeah, giving out value.
We spoke about this
we did.
And it's a very nuanced and very sophisticated script maybe you need to have, or kind of really understanding of, you know, like,
or approach even,
give, but kind of also hold back, so then they feel that you I'm not holding back like in a horrible way.
No.
That is kind of giving something, but also
look, no matter what, you're here to earn a living, so don't be scared of that. You know, don't be scared of that. For God's sakes, I wouldn't have had a career for 30 years if I'd have been scared of having a living. So, you know, you've got to get paid for the work that you do. And if you do it well, and you do it with ethics, and you do it with heart, and you do it genuinely to help people and serve people, don't be scared of having the money for it.
I think, you know, the whole like psychology of selling, because there is an energetics to it. Because
absolutely,
you know, lots of people, you know, because they feel so good, and this is kind of with a lot of like coaches, and because they're all a lot of them are very compassionate. They're kind of like, I made them feel so good in my free sales call, right? And so that feeling of goodness that I kind of gave, is then by the end of it, they've given everything, right? But you as a coach with your coaching business haven't been financially rewarded, and the client's gone away. But you know, it's like one, you know, that one conversation is not obviously going to like give them the solution to whatever their problem is. Sometimes
absolutely. I think at that point you've just got to say to yourself, look, that was an experience. I now know what not to do or how far to take it. Everything is a learning curve, and I know people label it as a numbers game if they want to be hard selling. We're not hard sales. We never have been. Me and my husband don't believe in that. We'll walk away from somebody rather than sign them up as a client before we'll even accept them as a client if we don't feel right with them, if we don't want to work with them. For you know, there's certain people I would never touch with a barge pole. I wouldn't even work with them in the first place if I thought I was, you know, weaponizing somebody in selling that was going to go out and manipulate people, you know, and be there and tell lies, you know, to go and get them on board. And once they've got all the nuances and what they should do, use that against people. I wouldn't work with them in the first place. I've been there. I've seen them people. I've seen what they do. You know, I've had a lifetime and a belly full of those people. I don't want to work with them. I don't want to weaponize them. In my view, that's what I'd be doing. So for me, I do want to help people earn money genuinely. So, and if people are scared of money, there's a way of fulfilling the job and fulfilling your client's potential to feel good about earning that money. You know, if you're helping your client earn money, how can you not feel good about the money they've paid you?
Exactly. And I think that's a whole conversation that's happened in the online space. But sometimes what happens is you kind of like, this is kind of for a lot of coaches that haven't been in the, you know, like in the space, you know, so they kind of like go offline to the online, and online is a little bit more difficult than
it's different. It's different
because you are not dealing with the whole, you know, non-verbal. There's a lot, you know, obviously sometimes you're just seeing
physical, physiology. Kind of, so you're looking at you've still got physiology on Zoom calls, but a lot of the time you're not getting that on posts or letters or marketing material.
And so sometimes it's kind of over time, I'm sure you've become really good and I've become really good at even reading the energy in a written post.
Absolutely, which is why I say there's even script in post if you do it right.
Exactly. And kind of how it's coming along, you know, like somebody says that they're interested, you know, like they say, I'm interested, right? Doesn't necessarily mean, you know, how interested, you know, interested is just one word.
But that's where you use your qualification skills.
You read the energy. And also there is this, what I wanted to kind of like to share with you, overcoming objections is a whole
class. Art. Definitely. What
Isn't
you
it?
can't be in sales is scared. And that's what I was going to say about the numbers game. I just want to go back to that quickly on the psychology. Most people call it a numbers game. What they mean by a numbers game, and it's put in simple terms, is practice. Okay. Never ever think you're short of clients. There's clients everywhere for everybody. I'm not a believer in competition. I love competition. I'll tell you why I love competition, because they've done most of the legwork for me. They've already blazed a path that I can follow and better 9 times out of 10, because they've shown me what they've done wrong, you know, and where they've gone wrong. So competition wise for me, I love it. You know, I love a competitor because they, especially if they're bigger than me, because they'll have spent more money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
However, numbers game, what I mean by that is, if you mess up with somebody in front of them in a sales call, or you've approached them the wrong way, darn, you know, I've messed that one up and I'm sure that would have been a great client for me. C'est la vie, move on. There's another one. Okay. That's what I mean by numbers game. It doesn't mean don't care about that person. That person could well come back to you later on if they see you become more experienced. So I never write anybody off either that I've spoke to, ever. You know, you have to treat people with respect, whether you spoke them for a minute, whether you've had $10 off them, or whether you've had $20 million off them. I don't care. They all pay me, whether it's $10 or $20 million. That person is the person I'll respect, because that $10 person could turn into the $20 million person quite quickly over time, you know? So you have to respect everybody.
I've seen that for my very first online sale. She kind of reinvested, right? And so you know, you can have certain people that are low ticket become high ticket, and you can have people that become low ticket, and that's the nature
and don't write off freebie seekers either, because I'm a freebie seeker, but I've spent $18,000 on a program before now. So, you know, I'm a high ticket too. I don't care. You know, don't write off anybody. Don't write off anybody. Treat everybody with respect.
I'm really glad that you've said that, Debbie, because I think in the online space, I don't think I've ever done a post like kind of really slating freebie seekers. And I see that quite a lot in online spaces.
Yeah, I
like
do.
people really hating freebie seekers. Now, my very first online summit, I actually, you know, got people to sign on for free. Yet I got one of my diamond clients from there.
Do you know, and that's the reason why people hate and slate freebie seekers, because you can literally piece the whole of this online gig together through free samples.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest, you can. And I've done some of that, you know, and I haven't had to pay for programs on it. I've literally pieced it. If you're clever enough, you can piece it together for free. I'm not saying I can do absolutely everything, but obviously you could get a good generalization. If you picked up everything on the way that everybody was spouting out, you could have the whole jigsaw, couldn't you?
Yeah. Yes.
And that's why people slate it, because people can go out and find out for free.
And there are enough generous coaches out there that they're giving away their secrets, right? You know, for free, or they're kind of selling it for low ticket. Like, you know, there's the low ticket to medium ticket to high ticket upselling. There's also and I think what happens is, I'm really glad that you've said that, in the online space there are these like myths. Don't sell something for free, or don't give for free, or, you know, and they are definitely myths, because everything, sometimes what people do, which I've kind of done, I will hold my hand up, you kind of get saturated, and you're taking up so much information online, and some of it is actually contradictory.
It is overwhelming. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Overwhelming. It's contradictory.
Yeah.
Just because it's contradictory, this is what I want to say, and I hope people can hear me. Just because something is contradictory doesn't mean that it's not true, because something can mean, like, some person can say this and then they can say this. It's like what you're actually saying, which I kind of really, it never really crossed my mind. Marketing and sales are like brother and sister.
Yeah, they are.
My brother and sister are like
they argue all the time.
They argue all the time.
They do.
And so there's that brother and sister, that love-hate relationship which I'm really glad that you've kind of like touched upon, because I think as you get more experience as an entrepreneur, and I've only been doing, you've been doing it far more longer than I have. I've
Yeah,
only been doing it.
I haven't done, well, I say I haven't done marketing. I've done a tiny bit of marketing, but I'm not really a marketer. I am now, I'm in the online space. I wasn't before. My focus was sales, but obviously I knew a lot about marketing because we deal with the marketing through sales. Yeah.
Sure. And so as you become much more like confident, you actually then realize that, you know, you need to have like a strategy, and then you also have a marketing strategy, you have a content strategy, and then what you know, if I'm wrong, having a script is your sales strategy.
Yeah. Well, you can build a lot of what you do around that script. Absolutely, for sure. How you find your clients, how you qualify them, how you approach them, how you get them into the net, as it were, into the beginning of your net, and then further deeper into your sales process. You know, absolutely. If you start, I'm not saying it's the heart of your business, you're the heart of your business. Who you are, your character, what your knowledge is, what your experience is, what your profession is. I don't care if you've got no experience, you can still sell what you've got. Sales is a skill. Once you've got sales as a skill and marketing as a skill, you can sell anything. You don't have to be, you know, experienced, but you have to have something to offer people, obviously, some sort of product, some sort of service. But yeah, you know, your knowledge, your skills in the space very much need sales and marketing. They're just hand in hand. But, you know, most people forgo sales because they think, oh, I hate sales. I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell, you know. It's the best part. It brings the money in really, really quickly. I'm not saying that marketing doesn't, but for me personally.
And I'm glad that you've also kind of touched upon, you know, not selling to certain people, because you know, I've had a few, not very many, but I've had a few people that have kind of come on to like on a sales call, whether that's like Messenger or whether that's, you know, a Messenger conversation or whether that's a Zoom conversation.
Yeah.
And I know I don't want them to buy from me.
Yeah.
I know they will be
and you're quite within your right to walk away.
And I have not sold to them.
Yeah.
And having a qualifying process which can come from a script, all right, and actually knowing, you know, the kind of client that you have. And sometimes I know sometimes when you've got like the pressure of earning a certain amount of money.
Yes, I mean, when you're targeted in sales, it's different. People can seem driven for that reason, just purely about sale, but that's not how we train people anyway. So that's why it's more successful.
It's like, I'm really glad that you mentioned it. It's about, you know, you don't want to like teach people sales, you know, and they're going to do unethical, you know, unethical marketing. So you've obviously got your standard of client. Same with me. I've got my standard of client. There's certain people, you know, even if they gave me £1 million and I can see that they're unethical and they're gonna, you know, like, I don't know, do whatever, I would not want to, even if they gave me £1 million, I wouldn't want them to be my client, because that £1 million is just, for me, not, it's just, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that for a variety of different reasons. And then it's like the same, you can have somebody that sells, you know, you just buys from you for £1 or £10, and that can feel still as joyous. For some people, they might hear me saying this as watching the recording thinking, what in the hell is Tanya saying? But
no, I totally agree. I'm on the same page. I don't care what I'm selling, even if it's for free. I respect the person giving me their email. I've got playback in the end. Are you hearing that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Playback? No, I can't hear the playback.
That's just me then, sorry. But I don't care whether they're even having something free off me. I respect the fact that they've even given me their data in the first place. To me, that's just like money. They've still given me money, you know?
Exactly. So. And I think it's, again, this is one thing that I'm really glad that you've said, and there's a theme that's come across, is to respect that human being at the end of the Facebook comment or the message,
even for the contact,
the Zoom or the in-person, that they are willing to give their details, their time,
yeah,
or whatever, their phone number or whatever, because the fact that they've given that to you is that they trust you with that information.
And that's got to be a lovely fit. That's probably why I do the burst. What I love about sales so much is because it is a gratification. It is a gratification. When you've done such a lovely job, I've still got loads of friends that I've met as clients first. Loads. Yeah. And I love it. And you know, and they've been friends for years and years and years. And why not? You got to know each other intimately over a sales conversation. You got to know the ins and outs of each other, as it were, you know, over that conversation, over that period of time you were selling to them as well. Because it is quite an intimate dance, and it's a bit like dating, and you've got to get to know people's personalities, and there's a fine line to be crossed, whether you push too far on the intimacy level or the non-intimacy level and the professional level and the non-professional level, and all of that, you know, is at play. But it's just an intuition and an experience. And I'd say to anybody with sales, just dive in with both feet and give it a try, and don't be scared of it. And a script for you or for anyone will help you, like a placebo effect, feel great about what you're doing until you can stand on your own 2 feet and trust your own judgment and your own experience level. Simple as that.
Thank you so much. I'm just we've got like a few minutes left. Juliana, do you have any, I know your little one Hamza is maybe giving you a hard time. Do you have any questions, last few questions, or a question to give to Debbie before we finish? I know, Juliana, you're still there, because I can see.
She might be putting him to bed. Ah, she's still there.
Yeah, I'm here.
She's stuck with us, bless her.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, I just had a question. Like, you mentioned that you were doing this for businesses, and I'm working actually in a corporate field again.
You're working in what? Sorry, could you speak up a little? Sorry.
I'm working in a corporate field.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
And I'm a project manager, but I do have the chance to sell certain things to our clients.
Yeah.
And I was wondering that if I should also create my own scripts, then as if I would be in my personal business.
I'm sorry, I missed part of that question. It went quiet.
She said she's working in a corporate setting now.
Yeah.
Should she have a script when she's selling to her clients for her job, like she would if she had her own business?
Oh, okay. So, yes, I mean, either or, whether it's your own business or whether it's corporate, you still need a script. Even if you're selling to friends and family, you still want to know a certain way to speak to them. I mean, obviously you're going to know them a lot more, so you know their boundaries a lot easier, and their character and their personality more, but you still need to know a certain way to sell to them without, I mean, that is a fine line to cross. I personally never sell to family and friends, never. I've never have. They have to come and ask me and beg me to sell it to them if I've got a product that they want, because I just won't do it, because I just don't want to push it that way. So if you do find that you have to sell to family and friends, there's still a fine line to cross to know how to do that. So a script would help with that, without being, it's always best. Script for me is like a preparation before you go into what you're doing. And the more you can prepare, the better you're going to be equipped to deal with anything that pops up, you know.
And I think Juliana, because you said to me, you shared with me, being a member of the Reflective Space, you shared with me recently that you've managed to actually sell to a few of your clients. So maybe you remember what you actually said to, you know, to kind of get those sales. Maybe you can use that as a script that you can form. Does that make any sense? Does that, Juliana?
Yeah, which is the metrics of what you've used that's worked and what hasn't, and building a good script up from that.
Yes, especially I thought of this regarding the products I'm selling, to have a
what do you sell? Do you mind me asking?
Actually, we are building websites for business clients.
Yeah.
Like either through a content management system like WordPress,
CRM,
or as
yeah,
shop,
yeah.
or as, for example, web shops like as Adobe Commerce or Shopify.
Yeah.
And we offer services for design, for taking care of the web page, for hosting and upgrades, and many more IT related topics.
And you do that offline already, you say? Did you say you do it offline already or online already through the
Online.
corporate? Okay, so you're offering that service through corporate already?
Yes.
Through the job that you work for? And
Yes.
you want to obviously go and do it on the side, personally?
No. She's doing that as her job. She used to have her own bit. You know, she had her own skincare business, but this is now a job.
Okay. Oh, Julianne, skin, because
That's
no picture. Yeah. I know who you are.
Yeah.
Skin's beautiful. I remember Juliana. She's got beautiful skin. Juliana?
Yes.
So for your business, are you talking about skincare business that you want to be scripted on? Is that what you mean?
No, in her job.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, obviously, yeah. I mean, especially if you're, I mean, how are you going about getting your clients now in the corporate level?
Currently, I'm just scripting new offers for our existing clients.
Yeah.
But potentially, I also have the chance to pitch to a new client if someone is, for example, coming to me from my circle, or I see someone is looking for
you already from things that you've put out there. Is that what you mean? So they're approaching you rather than you approaching them?
Like, since I'm working in this field, I have some people in my network who know that, and then they would ask me, like, who is doing, I don't know,
right,
who
so
can
the
help with WordPress.
Yeah.
And then when I have people who are interested in our services, I have the chance to get in touch with them and get them on a sales call or start conversation with them, so I can potentially bring in new clients to the company, and I can also upsell to our existing clients, such as upgrade their system with the newest upgrade because it has X and Y features and so on and so on.
And they haven't got any of that in place already, the corporate company you work for?
So for now, I'm quite new here, but I had some success.
No, that's fine. I see what you mean. So you want to make waves without going to the department that already deal with all the selling. Is that what you mean?
We do have sales department, but all project managers are selling too, because we have lots of client contact. So we have the chance to upsell to them through our conversations and contacts and just handling their questions.
Yeah. Well, first off, before I'd even attempt to sell to them, I'd get feedback off that client. If you've already sold them a product or service already, and ask them exactly what they were happy with anyway, in using you as a client, using you as a service, sorry. So you'd find out all the feedback first off that client, exactly what they were happy with, what they were not happy with, because obviously what they're not happy with could be some of the objections of why they won't buy or your upsell. Yeah. What they are happy with is the reason why they would buy your upsell. So your feedback is vital anyway before you'd even go in and try and sell them people.
Yeah, actually this happened to me recently, that I had a client call and she was a bit unhappy about some past issues.
And that'll be her objections before she even buys an upsell from you, even if she needs the service. She might go and find somebody else at the same level to go and purchase that upsell from because of those objections. So they do need dealing with it. It's great because you can deal with the objections, put them to bed, and move that person on a lot smoother after the upsell.
Yeah, I managed to do that once, to turn her like being upset to calm down and basically sell to her something else.
Yeah.
So there
I mean, you don't want to turn into a customer services department. I agree, but if it's something you can deal with from a sales point of view, then you deal with it. If not, you pass it on to the department that can, and you get it dealt with though, and you chase it up and you follow it through, and you make sure you follow it through for that customer. And you go back to that client and say, listen, this is the result that I've got from that department for you. It wasn't me that dealt with it, but because I don't deal with that and I'm not paid to deal with that and I can't take it on. However, I've chased it through and this is the result you've got. Would that then put you off continuing your journey with us?
Okay. Thank you so much, Debbie. I hope that's answered your question, Juliana. Is that okay? Yeah, wonderful. Okay, thank you, Debbie, so much for your time.
That's all right.
We've learned the psychology
to an end already.
Sales. Yeah, we've learned the psychology of sales, and we've learned the 10 reasons why it's really important to have a script in your sales calls. So thank you so much, Debbie.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Juliana, for sticking with us. And thank you to anyone that's watching the replay. Any questions, we'll happily answer them, won't we, Tanya?
Yes. Yep. All right, I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you so much.
That's all right, you're welcome.